welcome to another episode of Flatwoods Hunting Adventures. As you can see, we've got some boxes in front of me today. It's my birthday, and Miss Katie, she's such an awesome person, had this surprise. So right here, we're going to do a quick, not 100% unboxing in a second because I've already filled the tank, but we've got the Condor SS in 25 caliber. I've got the, this was a on sale package that Air Force was doing. So the 4x16x50 second focal plane middle dot scope and a set of the BKL rimfire rings. Real quick shout out, was looking for different 25 caliber pellets and slugs to try. And right now it's around Christmas time, it's December 20th, so getting things is kind of difficult, but I do want to put a shout out to Southern Precision Air Weapons out of Yulee, Florida. They had some 25 caliber stuff in stock. I got some tins of the FX air gun. They're the 34 grain pellets. And Ken and his staff, awesome bunch of guys, by the way. Ken threw in a box of the FX hybrids for me to try. So we're gonna get this gun kind of out of the box here and get some stuff assembled if my camera assistant doesn't walk in front of the camera there. He likes boxes, he likes being center of attention. So Kylo, come, sit, stay, good boy. So typical with the Air Forces, as you know, I have a love affair for all things air gun now. Already killed a deer with one. Started with the Texans, and we like the squirrel and rabbit hunt too. But we, so thus the 25 caliber Condor. But anyway, I've got owner's manual and some tools in here. We've got a bottle, which I said, spoiler, I went ahead and pre-charged it, and I'll show my tank when we get out shooting. The idea, what you think, Kyla? Pretty neat, huh? Yeah, that's not for you, buddy. So got the 450 cc tank. This is the steel one. I've charged it to 2800 right now to give us a start, and then the Condor SS. I hope I didn't say Talon earlier. So the gun is really easy to assemble. Air Force sends you the tools that you need. This is for the grub screw. This is for the stock. This is also the same size for your barrel. Should you want to take your barrel off, and then it gives you the spanner wrenches for your top hat as well. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to loosen this grub screw right here on the left side up above the handle, or the grip rather. And so you want to make sure that you can move this spin lock valve in and out. And so I've got it loose now, and pretty simple. Gonna take the bottle, and I'm going to put it on and then start the bottle. Till it's finger tight. And sometimes I give it just a little bit more with the gun itself. I'm going to line up the buttstock and then use the wrench that Air Force provides, and I'm going to snug it down. A little more straight. And then give it one more little snug. Doesn't have to be overly tight. I've read on forums where people say that they can loosen up. I've never had that happen on a Texan. Not to say that it won't, but pretty simple. Make sure we're good and straight, nice and snug, and we're assembled, ready to go. So next part is actually mounting the scope. I went ahead and pulled the BKL 1-inch high rings out of their box, and I went ahead and pulled the scope. I'll be honest with you, I was initially thinking about putting my ATN day night on this thing, but after looking through this scope, I'm pretty impressed. it's for a package scope, pretty solid. Of course, time will tell the tale, but adjustable ejected down to 10 yards, lockable windage and elevation turrets, illuminated middle-top reticle, 3 different colors, flip-up scope caps. Not much more you could ask for. Air Force branded scope. I'm sure they outsource it somewhere, but I'm pretty impressed. So we're going to start with this and zero it with this and go from there. I'll just mount the GoPro on it for a little bit of hunting, and then maybe down the road put the day-night on it, maybe put a thermal on it, but we're going to try it with that first. So needless. So the first thing you want to do once you get your scope rings out of the packaging, you're going to have to loosen them. They've got a really nice packaging, and you actually have to loosen them to get them out of the package. But you're going to want to put these on your 11mm dovetails, and I'm not going to tighten them per se because I'm going to check for eye relief. So I'm going to loosen them, get everything loose, and I'm going to take the actual tops off the rings and set them aside so I can get my proper eye relief, and then I'll show you how I adjust a scope for level. Now everybody's got an opinion. Some people use plumb bobs. I actually use levels. Some people use cards. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, but I'm going to step you through how I do it. The first thing that I'm going to do is kind of get an educated guess idea about where this thing's going to sit. So these aren't in danger of falling off at all. I'm just going to kind of set it in there because, you know, all scopes are a little bit different on width. And then I'm going to set my eye relief. So I'm going to open up my scope caps, and I'm actually just carefully do this because you don't want your scope tumping off. I'm going to get behind the rifle, and I'm going to check it at low power. I'm going to put my head naturally on the rifle and open my eyes. And if I can see the full field of view like that, I'll move it to the high power and see. If not, I'll adjust the scope accordingly and go for there. So I'm just going to ease behind the rifle real quick. I got to take off my glasses. They're just reading glasses. And I'm just going to put my head on the scope with my eyes closed and open my eye and see if I get a full field of view. And I don't. I'm going to have to push it forward just a little bit. So again, just a natural position, open my eye, and it looks right. So I kind of get an idea of where it's going to be. I'm going to give myself just a little bit of wiggle room either way. And then I'm going to snug down the bases to the rail. So off camera, I kind of snug these down on high colo. Sit, Betty. Can you sit for me? Stay. So I've got this, it's basically a line level. Ordered it off Midway years ago, but this is how I level my rifles. So now that I've got the bases installed, I'm going to take this, and this is one of the reasons why I use a tilt adjustable bipod to do this. I'm going to take and I'm going to level the gun through the bubbles. So I'm going to make sure that the bubbles are in the center. And then I'm going to set my scope on, and I'm going to just put it in the top of my rings. I'm going to just start them so they make contact. And so put these rings back on top. Try to do these evenly so you don't have this crooked scope rings. So my gun's level by the bipod. I used a flat area on the gun. This also comes with, when you're doing it with a bolt action, you can actually stick it in the bolt and it'll hang out the side of the gun. But in a situation like this, I just watch the level as I'm doing. I'll get it pretty close and then I'll check the level on the gun. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just getting them even on both sides. You don't have to torque these. I mean, this gun does not recoil. I'm just going to get them. Well, I say you don't have to torque them, but you don't have to gorilla tighten them down. There has to be some torque. I'm going to torque them to about 30 inch-pounds. Inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. Don't do foot-pounds. Inch-pounds. So I'm just getting them so they're just touching the scope, and I'm trying to get them even on both sides. Just so they've kind of got the scope caught. And I do apologize for my bag setup. My other bags are in the shop. So I had this Edgewood sitting on in my safe room. And so that and a blue book of gun values gave me the right height that I needed. So I'm gonna get them kind of started. And then I'm gonna actually take the scope and I'm going to set the level on top of the scope, and I'm going to level the top of the scope. Now, if you've got target turrets, it's going to be flat up here on top. So I use that as a reference. Not 100% sure about this scope because I've never dealt with an Air Force scope, but on my Vortexes, I've never had an issue doing it this way. Kylo's ready to go play, and as you can see behind me, it's kind of a rainy, dreary day. So I want to make sure that I can still turn the scope a little bit. Don't want it too snug that you can't turn the scope when you're doing this step. So I'm getting them even, again, side to side. If you don't have a good set of gunsmithing tools, go to MidwayUSA.com or one of the other dealers and get you a set of Wheeler Engineering. Don't use subpar stuff. I can't tell you how many screws I've seen that people have messed up because they didn't have the right tool. Buy the right tool. Isn't that right, Kylo? Buy the right tool. All right. So they're kind of there now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my bubble level is still good in the center here. And then I'm going to put it on top of the scope, and it's magnetic, and then I'm going to level the scope. Kylo, you're killing me. So the scope is level. The gun came off just a little bit. I should have snugged that bipod just a little bit. And we're within bubbles there. We're within bubbles there. Push it forward just a little bit. I had a little forward when I checked my eye relief. And I'm just gonna actually snug 2 screws. I'm sorry, I'm being a little OCD, but that's how I am. So all I have to do is 2 for it to stay. And then I'm gonna get behind it and check my eye relief on the lowest power and the highest power. Looks fantastic on the lowest power. Because they're snug, I can crank on this power wheel and it shouldn't move the scope. I just have this one ring that's snug. Go on and crank it up. And I'm getting full scope, and it looks really straight, so apparently these turrets are doing what they're supposed to do. Like I said, another way that we've done it, particularly at extreme distance, is to level the gun, like I showed you with a level, and then out at as far as you can see, take a plumb bob, and hang it in a tree with some colorful rope, and then you can tilt your crosshairs to follow that plumb bob. That's another good way to do it. So I'm going to snug these down, making them even. I'm going to do a cross pattern. I'm going to use my inch-pound wrench, high level inch-pound wrench, and I'm going to set them to 30 inch-pounds. 30 inch-pounds. Please don't use foot-pounds. You'll crush the tube with your scope. Inch-pounds. And we'll be back. So a couple quick things as I dug deeper in the scope box. They did provide the correct wrenches. Most scope companies do, but I just use my Wheeler Engineering, so fear not, they have one that actually fits. Also, there is a CR2032 battery. It actually goes right here for the illuminated reticle, and it shows you positive side right here which way it goes. And so I'm going to use my trusty knife here and find the positive side, which is the flat side, not where the actual button is. And I'm going to put it in its receptacle, and then it just spring finger tightens. Just be careful not to cross thread it. There we go. So now I have illumination in my reticle. So we're about to take it out to the shop. This is my first with the Condor 25 SS. We're going to try to get a 25 yard zero to start with. I hope to shoot at 50 yards. Again, thank you Southern Precision. Got the FX, we got the FX 34 grains, the FX hybrids, and then I've got the JSB match Diablo heavies. So I'm about to go out to the range. Looks a little bit different with the sunshade on it. I'm sorry, my dog is playing with his toy in the background. Real quick though, you can pump these up by hand. 490cc tank. I've done it. It's possible. You'll wear yourself out. This is a Mark V field. It's a great pump. I keep that in the truck when I'm out hunting. But I also have this. And after about 3 months with the Texans, I learned real quick that gets old. So this is a GX CS2. You can find this one on Amazon. I cannot tell you how many times I've pumped up my air rifles with it. Literally, Kylo, you about knocked over the tripod, dude. Literally one of the best investments I've made. All right, here we are out at the range. I've got the FX 34 grains. First time shooting a Condor SS. So, some good looking pellets. We've got the Labdar set up. It's doing some weird things right now. Not exactly sure why it's picking up stuff. Picking up sound from somewhere. It's probably sensitivity due to the fact that this is suppressed. So anyway, I'll call out the shot counts as we go. So all the way up, we're at seat the pellet, all the way back one way or the other. So here's my theory. If the scope is a decent scope, and we'll find out, I'm going to unlock these turrets so I can make some adjustments. The gun's straight, the rail's straight. The scope is set from the factory to center of 0. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it on the paper, put it dead center, forward for safety off, line it up, squeeze one off, and it did hit the paper, but I'm not sure where. There it is. It's low, 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 low. So it's at the bottom of the tape. Ooh, hope I don't run out of adjustment. So what I'm going to do now, with the turret unlocked, I'm going to dial, holding back where I was, down to the hole, and I had plenty of adjustment. So I have now dialed to the hole, and I forgot to check the velocity on that, but that's okay. So, recock. Got a pretty strong hammer spring. Seat the pellet all the way. And then I'm gonna have to make an adjustment here. So, I know it looked a little weird. Take one of my spacers out here. These are my air gun spacers. There we go. And so, safety off, back to the center. Wow, 963. Dead center, second shot at 25 yards. Touching. 955. And keep in mind, I did swab this barrel, but you can't get all the factory oils out of it. 3. Squirrel Nightmare second shot. Holy moly. Oh, that one pulled a little left. We do got a little wind going out. 948. My guess was 940 just based upon everything I had read. $9.42. Certainly can't complain for first group, and I know this is 25 yards, but I haven't played with a power wheel. I haven't played with anything. This is just straight out of the box. Used to that safety. You'd think as much as I shoot my Texan, it wouldn't be an issue. $9.35. So that's 5 shots. We're going to measure it up.